Hey, how's it going, guys? We're here with Daniel. We'll let everybody take a few minutes to roll in. But
What up,
how about you
Jake?
guys in the chat? Give us a little how'd you do this morning if you took some trades? Green, red? How about you, Daniel?
I was a little green. Yeah, a little green there. Took a couple. I took one short that didn't pan out, and uh, and then got long just before we had a really sharp move higher. So I got the timing of that one was perfect. But yeah, it's been tricky. Tricky markets lately. Not really, to be honest. Not really been loving the price action the last week or so.
Yeah. You use ATR or anything to manage that volatility?
No,
Or do you just
I
pick a
just
tick value
yeah, I just
that you're
I tend
comfortable with?
tend to size down and still use like the levels that and the stop out points and just try to keep a risk as consistent as possible across days.
Makes sense. Maybe I'll convince you to use ATR by the end of the day.
Hey, I'm open to it. A lot of people have said you should put ATR up, and every once in a while I throw ATR up, and it's just one of those things that just doesn't end up sticking on my charts.
It's not magic, but it does give you a sense of, you know, if I'm going to put a stop here, then I am going to expect to, you know, in simplest terms, if you're taking your stop too tight, then you're looking at half a candle, an average candle in the recent time. So
I mean,
something to look at.
remember back in was it like April when it was just nuts? Like there were just candles that you're like, generally speaking, with the scale on your y-axis, you're like, yeah, that's probably a 20-point candle, and it was like a 100-point candle. You're like, all right, I got to make sure that I'm not just taking this like for granted and actually paying attention to where we are actually at and how we're actually moving, how many, what's the range for the day, and it's been interesting to see some of these crazy ranges we've had.
Yeah. Yeah.
In terms
Range for the day is one. And then obviously range, just a recent range on whatever time frame you're executing on
yeah,
helps with entries sometimes. But, you know, there's always anomalies, and those extremes are the ones that get you.
yeah. So it sounds like chat. Sounds like some of you guys not enjoying the price action as well. Others, nice little green days. D away on a work trip, so no trading. Nice. Uh,
Cool.
Money's trolling me. There's some people from my live stream in here that are, just trying to
Yeah. Got the
in
groupies.
there.
All right. Yeah. So welcome everybody. If you're new to us, we're the Futures Desk. We do this every Wednesday. We bring on a special guest, and today's another special guest, Mr. Daniel Inskeep. He has been trading, 5, 6 years?
Mhm.
And yeah, he does a really good job sharing his journey. And he trades live every day on his channel, so check that out as well. But let's kind of get into it. So 5, 6 years ago, what was your transition into trading looking like?
Well, I was thinking about starting a channel about different internet, like I see all these things about like drop shipping and this and that, and I was like, it'd be fun just to like explore that and see like what's BS and what's not. And then somewhere along the way, I saw Wall Street Bets. I tried to ignore it. I was like, I don't know what these guys are doing, but that's crazy. And then eventually, though, I did find out about options and dipped my toes in the water, and had that beginner's luck. This is like February 2020, and I start kind of learning about calls and puts, etc. And then going into March with COVID, I was loaded up with puts. Didn't really know exactly what I was doing, but and that benefited me, I'm sure. Just that the beginner's ignorance that just sometimes
Mm,
it's like playing poker. You don't even know that you should be folding and you get lucky. It's kind of like one of those
right.
things. And so I made some money on that March 2020 crash, and then lost a bunch of it on the bounce, and because I kept reshorting because I didn't really understand all the intricacies. And so then maybe a year later, I found futures. I really liked it, as opposed to options. I would get sometimes a little frustrated with the fills, or like it, just blowing past a stop, and then like you're taking a larger loss than you want with options because you can't just. It's hard to have a hard stop loss and take profit with the way options pricing works. And so,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a little bit I guess more frustrating and harder to manage risk. So I really like that about futures, setting a bracket order, and just like you kind of know what your risk is every trade. There's not a
Right.
whole lot of slippage usually, and so it's a lot easier to manage risk. And then I just really liked it, and so I just fell down the futures rabbit hole then for the next several years, and I'm still in it, man.
Yeah. That's it's good. It's a lot of people give up or they're too frustrated by it, but you're still excited by it.
Yeah.
It's a good place to be.
And I absolutely get frustrated with it too. Of course, this journey is
Yep.
very challenging, very difficult, and that's what I try to highlight on my channel. Is a lot of people try to make it look easy. I think I do a good job of showing how hard it is through my failures.
Hopefully everyone watches all the videos and not just the ones where you win.
Exactly.
So you went right for technical trading, or did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one thing that always turned me off to the stock market in general was like the fundamental stuff. When you read like a I don't know, an Investopedia article or something about like how to buy a stock, or they talk about earnings per share and all this stuff, and I was just kind of like making my eyes glaze over, and I was like, well, I guess stocks aren't really for me, and so to me, technical analysis just resonates a lot better with me, and doesn't make my eyes glaze over as much, and I find it's can be very effective.
Cool. So I guess let's just speed up to today then. What are you looking for in your charts? How do you plan your morning?
Sure.
What do you
So
wait for?
yeah. So the first thing I do when I sit down at the desk is I start, plotting out key levels on a higher time frame basis. So I usually start on the daily, and I use supply and demand to mark levels, and I also just look for other, swing highs, swing lows, previous day high, previous day low, etc. Another thing I use a lot actually is I've gotten really into the 50% retracements of ranges, or of a really strong candle, bearish or bullish, and I look for a reaction at that 50% level. So the first thing I would do is mark out, if we have a demand zone I need to worry about. So I know we had a 4-hour demand going in this morning that I had marked on the chart down. Let's see, down here. So I'd mark the 4-hour demand and look for supply as well, and continue marking up the chart and finding what seems like levels we might want to tap into today. What would be great levels to sweep? So again, I mentioned overnight high, overnight low, I believe, but I had to have an indicator on here, so that's just marking overnight high, overnight low, previous day high, previous day low. And so a lot of times those are my targets. So I use basic price action targeting those levels. And supply and demand I often use for profit targets as well, or they keep me out of trouble from like entering a short at supply. If you don't have supply and demand mark, maybe you don't realize there's a 4-hour demand zone and you're trying to short right above it. Maybe not the best idea.
Right.
And so that
Don't just believe your MACD crossover anywhere on the chart.
and I don't just long at demand because there's demand there. That's idiotic too. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just kind of giving you a roadmap of what to look for. And so and in this case, here, like today was a good example of this 25,500 level on NASDAQ has been pretty key lately. And you can see we just held that like three really solid tests of that, and then exploded
Mm-hmm.
upwards to 600. And so something I was looking for once we moved higher is I was looking for, I kind of zoomed out a little bit and saw pre-market and Globex. I was looking at this level above 600. So it was like 612 to 620s ish that we kept supporting at. So I was thinking, when we have like a nice level like that right by a psych level or another key zone, I love looking for a tap into that level and then a subsequent rejection. And so that's what I had, this red zone on the chart on my stream before we ended, to come over here. And so I was looking for us to tap into this level, test that previous support, and then ideally sell off. And that's what did play out very nicely. And so that's kind of
So where would your entry be? How long would you wait for?
Yeah, well, it kind of depends. I feel like this was maybe a little trickier to catch. I didn't trade this, but generally speaking, I think I'm looking for like a move lower than one last move, higher that gets smacked down. And so I think, obviously with the benefit of hindsight, but generally speaking, like seeing that wick there, does give me a little bit of confidence that, okay, this is what I wanted to see, and now I'm seeing this candle get smacked down. I would probably put risk on around there, stop out high day, and then targeting, maybe VWAP, or even 500. I did want a 500 retest, and that's obviously like a pretty large trade. So probably scaling out or just taking profit as we engulf there on the 1 minute. So that's an example of what I would look for on that.
Okay. Yeah, I think this all makes sense. So you find your key levels, you find areas of confluence based on price structure. You look for a rejection and then the other side to kind of try to push again and fail. And then you're looking for that entry with a
Yeah.
risk of the high of that or below that structure.
Yeah, one thing with Nasdaq, especially, I mean, you can apply it to anything, but a lot of times, it's a little trappier and a little bit, a lot of times there's like one last wick you're waiting for, to kind of stop. Like if I'm looking for a short, I want to see a wick higher, that's going to stop out shorts. Ideally, not me. Ideally, I'm waiting for that wick, and then when I see it, and then I'm like, okay, that's giving me added confidence to the setup.
Do you involve the DOM then on that entry?
No, I mean the DOM is literally only used for order placement for me. I
Okay.
don't look at anything on the DOM except for every once in a while on ES. I'll look for zero prints or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if I did, I mean, I do use heat map, and again, this is on ES, even though I'm trading primarily NQ. But I will use the heat map and look for either aggression to this side I'm trading, or absorption, things like that.
Okay. So that'll be when you actually pull the trigger, though. You're not really looking for that ahead of time. You're still waiting for your levels.
Well, yeah, I wait for the levels, but if there are anomalies on the heat map, I definitely.
I see.
We saw some of that today, where before the move higher, we're seeing a little bit of absorption of some aggressive sell orders that were not getting that continuation down, and so I was mindful of that, and that could kind of help. There's as a trader, you're just trying to put pieces of a puzzle together to find like a higher probability trade, and so I also use VIX futures, so. VIX futures, if you see anomalies on the heat map, things like that can all be helpful to like devise a plan or give you added confluences.
Nice. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It's simple. I like it. And you've got areas you're waiting for that are working for you. So you typically narrow that window. You were acting earlier. We were talking before the stream that 11:30. You're sort of pushing it.
Yeah, so I'm on Central Time, so I generally wait 15 minutes after the open, let the opening volatility kind of settle, and then usually 10:30 my time, so 11:30 Eastern is when I'm like, you try to be done for the day. Sometimes going into the 11 o'clock hour, but I don't really enjoy trading afternoons. Historically, just I do not trade that well, and a lot of times if I am trading afternoons, it's because I was red in the morning, and so I'm trading out of a hole anyways, which again. I try my best not to let the P&L affect me, but when you're in the prop firm space, you do have to be mindful of your P&L with a lot of firms. So it's hard not to. And so, yeah, I think that's part of the reason why also I tend not to trade well in the afternoon.
It's usually when you're making it back. So you don't tend to make a big win in the morning. Do you still trade the afternoons? Would that ever be an option, or would you be totally off the table?
No, I'm done.
So it's all about making it back. So really, it's a bad idea.
Exactly.
Sure.
Gotta lock out.
Have you looked at your actual stats in the afternoon, or you just for sure?
I did before, and yeah, I think with the prop firms, I don't necessarily track my stats that well because the way I trade on evaluation is a little bit more aggressive than in a funded account, etc. But I have looked at the buyout trades by hour. And my sweet spot is like the 9 to 10 hour Central Time. That's my most profitable hour.
There you go. Cool. All right. So yeah, so you're trading every day. Okay, there we go. Giveaway live. People are gonna be excited about that. Let's just put that on the screen. Scan that QR.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. You can finish your giveaway.
So scan the QR code, or if you look in the chat on YouTube. And I think on X it should show up. There is a link to Gleam where you can sign up for the giveaway, and we'll do that later. I know we're giving away merch this time as well as some credit to sign up for evals or reset existing ones. And yeah, we'll do that later on, maybe after a few questions with Daniel here.
I did see someone in chat said my average win rate, it's usually between 50 and 60%. That's historically just usually where I'm at.
How many trades a day would you say you take?
You know, ideally three trades is usually like when things are going well. It's usually like often, a break even or a loss and 2 winners is like to me, that's like a pretty decent day. And not that I haven't tried to, kind of hyper scalp or do kind of undisciplined behaviors, because I certainly have. But 3 trades is ideal, because that means generally that I'm reading the market well and my trades are working out.
So then, on the other side of things, what happens if you had 3 losses in a row, just right out the gate?
That's like generally a sign that I'm not reading the market well, or the way I like to trade is just not compatible with price action for the day. And so that's like massive red flag. Ideally, I've kept risk, in check, so it's not too big of a loss. And so, one of the books I always recommend that people read is Best Loser Wins. You don't have to agree with everything Tom Hugard says in the book, but there's so many, like I was reading that on the Kindle app or something. I highlighted like so many snippets, like pages and pages. There's so many key takeaways. And one of those, it's the title of the book. It's getting better at losing and accepting those losses. And that's something I was trying to do this year a lot, was like, sometimes you're in a trade and, it's not really working out, not as you expected. And you're still like, well, it hasn't hit my stop loss yet, so there's still a chance it could be green. And one thing I've been trying to do is just, if it's not looking as good as I thought, when I entered, just cut the trade, even if it's for a small loss. I used to not want to take the red trade. I'd be like, well, I want the green calendar day, and be so worried about that. But that's just detrimental. So
it really has. It's funny enough, because yes, it has to do with the results you want out of this. Yes, it has to do with maybe how you get to a next stage in a prop firm. But in the end, it just has zero to do with the trade itself. Like, obviously the risk and the math over time to make this thing work out, for sure. But the market just doesn't give a shit about anything other than what the market's going to do.
And you just have to keep in mind, look, everyone, it's a fact. Everyone's going to take losses trading, no matter how good they are. And so if the best trader in the world is going to take losses, you're going to take losses, absolutely. And so you might as well get comfortable with it. And just the important part is keeping those losses a little smaller than those wins.
Yeah, I when people ask me like, what risk to reward ratio should I go for, and I'm like, just try to stick to 50-50 with 1-to-1 for a while. Like, if you're just getting started out, just get something where you're not losing money. You might not be making money. I know no one wants to hear that, because it's like, well, put me online to make money. And it's like, if you can just start practicing sticking to your trades, not being optimistic when the trade clearly is invalidated. That's where I think that's your point from earlier is, if the trade's going against you and it's everyone gets very optimistic. They're like, well, what if I think what's happening here is the ICT model of buying is coming in, and the, whatever stuff they want to throw up in there just to feel like they still have a chance. And then when it's going in their favor, they're the opposite, right? That's when you
say,
yeah, you're no longer optimistic. You're like, oh, I better get out now.
You're scared,
yeah. Look at those sellers. Yeah, the sellers are coming in pretty. I'll just take it off.
Yeah, and
it's all fear avoidable.
Both ways. Like, you're optimistic when you shouldn't be, and you're fearful when you shouldn't be. And that's why trading is so hard, is because you have to master your brain. Your brain is trying to screw you up in trading. So that's why I think that's the number one thing of why it's so hard, is because what you're doing, your brain is fighting against you until you break and show the brain that, like, actually, I can be uncomfortable in a trade and wait for it to work out, and it's fine. I can wait for my profit target to hit, and you can relax, brain. It's literally just a battle, a mental battle, so much of it.
Yeah, there's not much in life that makes you rely on statistics from thing to thing. You're fixing a problem with your plumbing, and I'll just keep hammering at it and keep going back to Home Depot until I get it fixed, and then I'm done. I know how to fix it, and I keep doing that. Not the same with trading.
Yeah.
All right. Don't get emotional about a potential decision. zoom out and understand why you're in the trade and see the higher time frame.
That's a good point. And the other thing
Yep.
you do is see like what is what is the opposite thesis for the trade? Like if you're looking for the short, what are longs looking for right now? You try to flip your thinking too and be like, if I wanted to go long right now, do I like any of this at all? So I think looking at it from trying to flip your bias a little bit too, and just
Flip
look
your
at the trends
bias,
for.
and then also look at other markets. I'm not saying trade other markets, but you might get so honed in on like, I'm going to force a trade on the NQ. When's my NQ opportunity? And maybe they all suck. Maybe they're relatively better than what it was an hour ago. Sure. Maybe there's more volume than there was an hour ago, but you flip to something like gold or whatever's running on the day and you go, oh, wait, these are setups. Again, don't just take them. Understand the markets you're trading before you do that, but use that for context, not just do what Daniel Thane for sure too. Long short, like, hey, if I was going to short this, I do look to see a long setup. But if I was going to short this, is that also an opportunity? And if it is, then yeah, you might invalidate it right there.
Yeah, I think getting quick to change, like especially if you're scalping and you're adapting to the markets, like you cannot marry that bias, like, and it's so detrimental sometimes. If I'm really like, oh, I really want this short, it'd be so great.
Mm-hmm.
VIX is doing this other thing's doing that, and it can, you keep reshorting, getting stopped out. You have to, you really do have to step away and be like, wait, why am I? This is actually strong. Like, why am I trying to short this so bad? And so many times when I've just kind of submitted to the strength of the market, you stop trying to be a contrarian trader and find a reversal. Right. Then you're like, oh, okay, that was a green trade now. Finally, like it's kind of
it's hard. Yeah, it's funny how many people blow their accounts just averaging in, going, oh, this is the time, this is the long, this is the long, and those 20% trend days, which is roughly what people kind of like to stick to, statistically wise, they hit you and then you blow everything, especially if you drop your daily loss limit. And people keep thinking, oh no, this is a better trade because it didn't work out the first two. Like, well, now it has to turn around. Look how over extended it is on X, Y, and Z and the RSI, and it's like these are market participants putting in huge amounts of liquidity, and despite what certain people will tell you on Twitter and the internet, no one can be for sure what's going to happen next. You don't know if John at Goldman Sachs is going to come back from lunch and off his helicopter and just start buying so much in the middle of your technical pattern that is always going to work.
I thought Joe Schmo on Twitter was the end all be all with his opinion about the market.
Yeah, no, that's how I get all my signals for sure.
I'll say, like, to bring it to like real time right now, we got the drop that I wanted to see, and we bounced pretty nicely, supported VWAP up on the way up, and part of me would be like, okay, there's like a mean reversion trade you could take here or something like that, but I kind of think just going with the strength here, and I mentioned I mark out supply and demand, so I have supply up at like 38 or so on NASDAQ here, and so I actually at this point I think looking for the long, as much as I liked shorting that 600 pop there, now we've shown that the buyers, they haven't thrown in the towel, and sellers have been unable to really. I was really looking for that 500 retester, and we haven't really been back there since 9:30 this morning. So, stream of conscious thoughts there.
No, I agree. It's you'd be going against the trend to short it. It's possible it could go. If you have a good reason, do you have a good confluence? Maybe you've been watching these levels and you're seeing price react and order flow. Sure, I mean those are the opportunities. You can find a good structural opportunity here. But what's really happening is offers keep rising and buyers are still interested. So are you gonna say no, they're not? Like they're wrong, like there's going to be so much selling here, even though I don't know, I can't really see how much liquidity is actually here. You don't know. I know there's tools like Bookmap that'll show you certain type. It tries to show you what could be an iceberg order, right? Yeah. But that's just the remnants of it. You don't know how deep an iceberg goes. No one knows, unless they're sitting on the books. You don't know how long that's going to last, and if the buyers keep showing up, it's going to blast right through it. So yeah, yeah, good analysis there. Again, you can just take. There's definitely trading strategies where you just would blindly take this level and say, "This is my level, this is my risk, and this is what works for me." But if you're looking for a small move against what everything's doing right now, and you're just trying to anticipate that something could happen, you're going to reduce your win rate. It's just how it works.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that makes trading hard to learn is because, a lot of people say screen time, screen time, screen time. And the thing is, it's like cliche, but it's for a reason. Like it does, it's so important because, again, it's not just about a MACD this or an RSI that. There's like so much that goes into it.
Yeah.
Like, and when you're staring at the charts every day, like sometimes there's things that just don't feel right, like intuitively, that are harder to verbalize. That they're like, normally I would take this. If it's a bull flag sitting on top of VWAP, like normally, sure, yeah, I like it, but for whatever reason today, I'm just not feeling it. And there's just certain things that are harder to articulate that you do just after a while, just staring at the same thing every day, you start to develop a sense for.
Yeah. Dan, do you take seasonality into your trading style, summer slowdown, etc.?
Not too much. If I'm thinking about a general trade where I'm looking for maybe 30 points, that's I'm not like doing a lot of swing trading, so it's like I think you can get 30 points, pretty easily. I mean, I don't like to say easy, but like there is opportunity on a daily basis, on a weekly basis throughout the year, and obviously, yeah, you know, people talk about like the dog days of summer, like August being this or that, but like, man, I remember like 2 Augusts ago, like it was some of the best trading I ever had. It was just, for whatever reason. Um, so I take it more of just like a day-to-day approach, honestly.
I think that makes sense. I like to look at it not so much seasons in terms of summer anymore or anything like that, just because there's so many regime changes in terms of how the market's reacting to different global events
Mm-hmm.
or economic events, like just inflation, what are interest rates doing, depending on which market you're trading, the geopolitical stuff, supply chain, so if you have a Bloomberg terminal, you're going to have access to things like where is the oil? Do we actually have a supply issue with oil? And you'd have that kind of information. But
Mm-hmm.
those things do ripple, and they can affect really good entries and really bad entries. So instead of just thinking summer slowdown, try to think seasonality in terms of you know global events.
Yeah,
And
right. Like there's certain times when data releases have like zero effect, and there are other times where the same data release will be really important or like really, the market doesn't have maybe a lot to go on. Like this morning we had what was it, like ADP? Was that this morning or was that
I wasn't
yesterday?
watching this morning.
It all blurs together. But when we had ADP and I was a little soft, like like there wasn't a whole lot to go on during the government shutdown with as far as data releases. So when we do get something, it might be more reactionary than other times.
Yeah, for sure. And picking direction on news events can be difficult, but at the very least treat them as volatility events.
Mm-hmm.
So all the economic events that are coming on, anticipate your risk. If you're already in a big trade, I know that's what people sort of say. I've already been in a trade for a really long time, and we're approaching an event, and you're willing to kind of exercise some of the quote unquote house money to take more risk on that event when it occurs. You can just be ready for volatility. But yeah, those larger macro events have an impact on the market. And when those things change, you'll see different conditions enter the market, different expectations, but don't get so hung up on what they are and not be willing to take new data into account, because as quick as you learn a setup on one market, you'll and one regime, it'll shift by then, and then you're going to have to understand the new one. So becoming really fluid from market condition to market condition is extremely difficult to do, but it is what we should all be striving to do. Being able to react to changes in the market over time.
Heading into chat real quick, someone asked, does book map come with MotiveWave? Just like for clarity, this is just an order flow heat map. It looks like bookmap, and this is part of the order flow version or higher of MotiveWave. And so it's not actually bookmap. That's a separate software. But yeah, this comes with the order flow version or higher on MotiveWave, and so
And there is a little bit of a so Edge. If you like MotiveWave, you can get a little bit better of a license of it by using the white label version, which is Edge Pro X from the Edge Clear, their brokerage too. But they have Edge Pro X, and it is exactly
same.
MotiveWave. Yeah, but you get a little bit more for your money. We don't
And
get paid by them or anything, but I speak from
and I was gonna
myself.
say they have some like the templates. Like I think this heat map that's set up nicely is like the Edge Pro X template. So like they have a few extra things that make it a little bit better than just straight up MotiveWave.
Yeah, so guys, make sure you sign up with that link. We'll probably give it another 5 minutes, and we'll start doing the giveaways. But let's who is Daniel Inskeep? I don't know. Is that a literal question, or who do you think you are, Daniel? Who are you?
You're gonna give me an existential crisis here on stream. I don't want to do that in front of everybody.
That's where I was headed. So
Yeah.
Yeah, he's if you watch the beginning of the stream, he's a trader. He's been trading about 5 or 6 years. He puts out great content. He's done some really good videos on trading. He trades every day live. He's not a guru. He's he's one of the anti-guru group. He's part of that posse. So we like those people.
I don't have a course, and I don't have a paid Discord membership. It's all just free. Just
sharing his experience, showing his trading. Yeah, which we appreciate. And someone said you're a fantastic gold trader. I see.
They're goofing. They are sick.
Yeah. Are those your
twice? And yeah, it's just honestly, I people do tell me that you should trade gold, yada yada, and maybe I should look at it more often. But during the New York session, I just really like NASDAQ, and yeah, I don't often look at gold.
What else we got? I guess some days even the best traders aren't in their game, where the market isn't making sense. So it's okay to stay away and safeguard that you have until it makes sense.
Yeah, that's like the other thing that I've been trying to improve too. Is generally, if you look at like a calendar view of my trading, there's a trade every single day, and for how I trade, there's probably many days that I could just avoid a trade altogether. And so one thing I've been trying to do is just be okay with not taking a trade that day.
And yeah, I think that's good.
There are certain,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to say, what we suggest is, try to stick to a very close to the same dollar amount of risk per trade for a long period of time. Don't think of doing this anytime early, but the better traders obviously are similar to the better poker players, where they can recognize a really good trade without putting their emotions in there, and they'll size into those trades. Not necessarily, I don't mean adding after your initial entry. I just mean they increase the size. And some of those trades only come maybe twice a month. So categorizing sort of, is this an A trade, a B trade, or, hopefully you probably just avoid C trades. But what I would say, Daniel, is, you don't necessarily have to come in only going for the home run trades. But when you do see those trades that are like B trades, you're like, well, this is a pretty good trade. Just reduce your size on those days. Reduce your risk per trade and see if that makes sense to you. But
absolutely,
it's hard to think, well, I don't want to reduce size because what if this is a big trade and I make a bunch of money? And you have to get out of that mind, that way of thinking, because all we have is our risk, and you can't really say what it's going to happen to the profit target. But you do know, if based on your back testing, based on your recording of your trades, this is a really good setup and it's checking all the boxes on the setup, then maybe it's a good time to use full risk.
Yeah, and another thing I've also tried to add, as a tweak to my trading is, like, let's say the price action's terrific, you have a great trade, maybe you get a 40-point trade or something, and you're up nicely for the day. But honestly, it's still a great price action. You still want to participate. One thing that I've been employing is just sizing down by probably a third, like going to, like, if I trade one mini, usually going to like 3 micros. And that way, you're not risking too much of your profit, right? And you can still have a reasonable stop loss without worrying about giving back money. And you can still, see your analysis play out, take advantage of the good price action without, screwing with your profit or turning a green day red. Because, historically, maybe 2 years ago, I have a nice day and I still like it. I'm going to push a little harder, but maybe I don't give the trade enough room because I'm like, well, I'm up, $1,200. I don't want to go
Mm-hmm.
under 1,000 just mentally. Well, it doesn't matter. Like, but mentally, you're like, oh, $1,000 day, that's pretty nice. So I'm only going to get
Mm-hmm.
10 points. And you're like, well, dang, 10 points wasn't enough. I got stopped out. Okay, well, let me try again now. But then your risk is still just as tight. And then you stopped it. It can really lead to a cascading, snowball of poor decision making. So
And then then all of a sudden you're red on the day.
yeah. So just sizing down after a nice win too, and so you can still participate in the market. You're not getting FOMO, and just put a little small trade on, and when it hits, you're like, oh, nice, an extra $200 or whatever it is,
Sure.
and you're not if you get stopped out, you're like, okay, I lost $100, I'll go ahead and call it for a day. So it's I think a very helpful tool in just maintaining those green days.
And when it comes down to it, there's people are always like, oh, when should I stop trading? Am I over trading? And really, over trading is if you're not executing your setups, you're over trading, right? If you see your setups and you're clear that you are executing on them, if you struggle and you need to give yourself sort of like a handicap where I just need to size down because after I have a big win, I'm tilted to the positive side and I know I'll screw it up, then for sure, just size down. Don't take a big entry because that's a something that needs to be addressed, or not, or you just continue to do that and that keeps you in the game longer. But of course, if you're in the afternoon and you see your setup and you're clearly thinking through your checklist, you're like, this is my setup, I like the price action, then it just becomes about the trade, and that's really all that matters. If you have afternoon data that says, no, these trades do happen, I just execute poorly on it, that's what needs to be addressed.
That's a good way to approach it. Yeah.
Stop loss for okay. I broke my rules and paid for it earlier. I'll take my time and rebound with better discipline tomorrow. That's the sentiment is there, and I love that you're noticing yourself. You realize that you paid for it earlier, breaking your rules. But I do ask, instead of just saying I'll make my discipline better tomorrow, which we all will say, like tomorrow's different, I'm going to start fresh, I'll do everything right. You need to be really specific on what's the thing you're going to change that's going to get you there. So come up with an actionable item or two or three that are, this is what I'm going to do differently. I'm not just going to have the willpower tomorrow and assume I'll have it. Give yourself a little help there and be specific.
That's really good. Yeah, like to personalize a little bit. Like yesterday, I did not have a good trading day. I was very frustrated, and then so today, like I was, there's a few setups where you're just like, it looks kind of good. And you're like, kind of good. What does that mean? Like, where you're like, oh, you just need.
I'd love to make some money here.
you just need like $250. Just put on the trade, And they're like, wait, hold on. This is what I did yesterday. This is what I did last week. This is what I did last month. And that obviously is not working long term. That's not a setup. You have to be like, where
you have that little gambler on your shoulder telling you,
exactly.
But it could work out. It could work out.
And that's like the worst thing is like doing something that breaks your rules that does work out because it's rewarding you for bad behavior, essentially.
That's how you started your whole journey, right? So that sticks
exactly.
probably in your head pretty well.
Exactly. So you're just like, just one time, just no. Like it's really important not to do those because it's going to develop bad habits.
Yeah, it's like staring at that piece of cake and you're on a diet. What else we got? What's your trading experience, Mr. Josh? I started around the same time Daniel did. I'm engineer by trade, so I've been building and designing software systems for a couple decades or more, actually. And I got into this and I thought I could solve it with math and automation and all this other stuff, and you quickly get humbled. And so since then I've been trading and building prop around it and trying to help everybody else see what I see. And I've talked to thousands of traders now, and I see the data. I understand how to process the data and interpret it to come up with, actionable items for these traders to hopefully improve them. And that's what we're doing at the desk here, is having a program that doesn't try to rush you and tries to get you to focus on just take some base hits yes, you can have big days, but if you're just, most days aren't big days. Most days are base hit days relative to your big days. So focus on the base hits, have a system that you can stay in the game longer, because most people are running as fast as they can
Yeah.
across the high wire to get to the first payout. And that's the game to them, is what's my return on investment on the fee. Oh, here you go. And everything else. What we've seen is, what we knew was journaling would improve people's trading if they would pay attention. And what we actually can pull the data out now, which was exciting for us because we built a journaling system into it. And this is the results we're getting from it. The traders that heavily use our journaling system day by day are seeing more green days, higher win rates, less resetting, and compared to the traders that have used our system at all. That's sort of what we're gauging it by, is if they're aware of the journaling system or not, and how much they use it. It's a pretty drastic difference overall
It's
across all traders.
Yeah, it's such a great, not to glaze, it's such a great back end. It's literally like someone said in chat, the technology and dashboard is million miles above everyone else. That's so true. And I've traded with many firms. Most of them are just very bare bones. It feels like it's like a, reminds me of like a WordPress template. And this obviously is like
It probably doesn't just remind you of one. It probably is a word list.
and like, well, like, you know, if you have Project X on the features that's pulled up and you have your journal and you have to select a setup for your trade, man, you better have a freaking setup. You know, you better be trading a setup and not just throwing trades on just because. And so if you can stick
for sure,
that, you definitely see that improvement and be part of that statistic.
half of it's logging and looking at your stats so you can make informed decisions. The other half of it is just staying out of your head, and writing down what's happening in the moment, recognizing and acknowledging your decisions in the moment, rather than waiting till later that night and going, oh yeah, I knew it was going to go long, and you shorted it. You're like, oh, I should have went long, and you kind of keep it as this fuzzy thing, and then you wake up the next morning, and not to be mean to the person who mentioned it, but I'll be more disciplined tomorrow. Like, you're not gonna move forward, guys. You're gonna stay in that loop that you're in. You're not gonna get better just because you have quote unquote screen time.
That's
If
so
you're
true.
not treating that screen time as you know as something specific, where you're making specific decisions based on that screen time, and you're not just acting like an asshole trading and trying to just gamble and be like, oh look, I reset 70 times and I got a payout. That 70th time must be the way I should trade now. And it doesn't work that way. And I'm sure for anybody who's listening, it probably resonates with a lot of people. They're like, I've been doing this so long and I'm not getting anywhere. It's like, because you're not doing anything on purpose. You're playing to the randomness of outcome
That's really important.
entirely.
And one thing I'll say again to personalize a little bit is, I heard, like, when I started, I was like, well, it takes at least 2 years to become profitable when I was trading options. And so, like, by the time I hit after 2 years, I'm like, okay, that's it. It's been 2 years. Like, I should be good.
Right.
Like, but like you said, I wasn't necessarily doing these actionable things. It was just like, okay, well, that didn't work out. I think I learned my lesson. Like, tomorrow,
Right.
again, that doesn't work, and that'll stall your progress and make the process take longer. So when people say, how long does it take to become profitable? Depends on how you're what you're doing to improve. And it can't just be, like you said, screen time's important, but that's not all there is. If you're just staring at it and not actually learning anything from your behavior, you're going to keep making the same mistakes.
And the time frame, I think everyone sees payout proof, firms, and they're pushing that, and people love to post their payouts. I mean, I get it. You want to feel like I accomplished something. I'm one of the ones that are moving forward. But time wise, realistically, what, 5% of traders are probably going to be, I mean, that's a rough number, but are going to be able to stay in this game. And it probably takes at least 2-3 years of like good work, good focused structural work on your trading to move yourself forward to make it into that 5%. So if you're one of these people that are like 3 months in and you want to be part of that 5%, your statistics go to nothing. I mean, like, the chances of being in that top 5% that can continue to do this and then expect it to happen within a few months, you're setting expectations for yourself that are just unrealistic for almost anybody.
Definitely.
Cool. All right, we'll take one more question, and then we'll do the giveaway. I'll have Raj do it because he loves doing wheel spinning and marble runs. Same days, it's better to stay in bed and not trade. The question is, how do you know what those days are? I mean, that depends on your strategies, right? What are your strategies? What are the market conditions on your strategies? So, a lot of people like to set alerts. I'm a big proponent of that. Just define your ranges, do that high level market structure. Where am I going to trade? Again, if you're someone that just takes momentum scalps, that could be a little bit different. The VIX is another way. That's a good way to measure overall volatility. It depends on you. So it's not. And stay in bed. If you didn't sleep, maybe you should stay in bed. That would be another thing. Like, rate yourself, and that's in our dashboard. We want you to do that every day. Have self-awareness. I do not feel restful. I do not. I'm nervous today. These things can affect your trading, and if you be your own coach and watch yourself, you can make a big difference with these small changes.
One thing I started doing for me, like I realized when NASDAQ opens, like right by VWAP, a VWAP open, it's like yellow flat conditions for me. It's like, all right, heads up. A lot of times these VWAP opens lead to some choppy action and not ideal price action for how I like to trade. So for me, that's one thing I'm looking for is like, okay, VWAP open, careful, dude. Like maybe go easy, be extra patient today. Really make sure it's a good setup, and maybe just default to no trade instead of defaulting to, well, my profit goal is usually $400 a day. Instead of thinking about it like that, adapt to the conditions and be like, okay, well, we're in balance today or whatever. And so my default today is flat, zero trades. It's not $400. And if you can get in that mindset and be like, I only put risk on when I see something I really, really like in this condition, then that I think can keep you out of trouble. And
I like that.
Large red days.
Not to mention, I know a lot of people like to look at this like a normal job, and they want to think, okay, if I just make $500 a day every day for a year, this is how much money I'll make. Like, don't do that, guys.
Yeah.
There's good reason to have a stopping point for your profit for the day. I get that, but you're setting your expectations again to be, well, first of all, that would be all 100% win days, which props to you if you can do that. No pun intended.
I'll buy your course.
Yeah, we'll buy your course, Daniel and I, today, and we'll also back it and produce more of it. But what you want to do is think, I just need to take good trades. I hopefully make money on it, and I'll take the money out later. But it's no one's got a perfect upward curve of all green days forever. It just doesn't work like that. And you might get them. Some people get them for 3 weeks, a month, and kudos to them if they can keep doing that and keeping a high win rate on the day. But you're gonna come back and look at that person, that trader, if they're being honest, and they'll have 2 weeks of struggling because now their strategy shifted and they have to start changing what that strategy is to meet the market conditions. And what do you want to do during that time? Lose less, right? So protecting your capital so you can continue on this journey is like everything. And we all know that, but it's not exciting.
Yeah.
That's the boring part. It's like, well, I just don't want 2 weeks of drawdown. It's like, well, you're screwed because it could happen, and it likely will. So
yeah. We have a question in chat. After taking the funded account, do they provide the real-time data, or do you need to get that from somewhere else?
So yeah, we provide real-time data from day one. If you need level 2 data, just reach out to our support chat. We'll enable that for free as well. And then when you get to the live brokerage, we continue to cover one exchange of data, which costs us about, I think, $140 a month. It's up to now. If you need more than one exchange, that'll get deducted from your balance. So you won't have to take out your credit card and to do that. It'll just come out of your balance. So yeah. So no activation fees either. So that payment you make to us on the first try is pretty much the only payment you have to make to us, unless you need more than 31 days. And even then, it's pretty cheap, 31-day renewal.
Yeah, it is. I did a renewal on mine. I was taking the eval really slow. I made too much money once, and I increased my base hit. Anyway, so I was glad that it was like a $29 extension instead of like full price. So
we're literally passing on our costs. That's our data and platform costs, and then like $5-10 for handling support and all the rest of our infrastructure. We're not trying to profit off extension. I saw Raj put something up. So what we're going to do today, we're going to do the giveaway as normal. If you don't win, you're actually going to get $20 credit anyway, just for signing up.
Hey,
So that can stack with your discount, like with our current promo, which ends tonight. Everyone at checkout, you'll see $20 deducted as a credit, and that can be used for anything, assessments, or if you need to do a reset.
And real quick, I would say static accounts are awesome. That's what I have with the features desk. I highly recommend static accounts. It's what's going to resemble a live brokerage account, which is what everyone's end goal is, anyways. So static accounts are awesome.
Static account, which a lot of people don't even know what static account is, because I think we're one of the few that even do it at all. But static account means end of day. So end of day, which we also have, which is a little less expensive, or quite a bit less expensive, is when you close the day out, you're used to your drawdown going up with your highest balance. With static accounts, it doesn't move up with your highest balance. So if you made 2,000 and then you lost one day, and then you lost 2,000, your minimum balance isn't going to increase during that time. So it gives you more room to take your trades and hopefully see some success.
Yep.
And when anyone gets to live brokerage, all accounts are static. So that goes away. But
I don't know about you guys, chat, but I've lost many prop firm accounts just being break even, because I made $2,000 or whatever it is, and then I got back to break even. Boom, account's gone. You're like, well, okay. I mean, I was break even, and you get punished for it. So that's why static accounts I really like.
Yeah, the worst one is, and I'll just say, don't sign up for accounts anywhere that are like this. But if they use the unrealized trailing, it trails you while you're in your trade at your highest watermark, which unless you're a scalper, scalpers can get away with it if you're doing really small entries and exits, because your curve, as long as you're winning percentage is high enough, you'll avoid it. But for the most part, avoid intraday. It's pretty predatory. And then let's spin the wheel, because I keep saying we're gonna spin the wheel, and want to follow through on that. That's a lot of names. And how we like to do this, Daniel, is you say the name, because it's hard for us to pronounce most of the time. So we like you to.
Okay, I'll take some strays here if I say it wrong. All right. The winner. That's a lot of names, man.
Wheel of.
Oh, Tomika. What up, Tomika? Let's hope I said that one right. Congratulations.
You need to hear the full name?
Nope.
All right. All right. Either way, congrats, Tomika. You'll get an email immediately from us with notification of that credit. Let's do it one more time. So that's a $200 credit. We'll do another $200 credit. Please, and then we'll give away some hats. How about that?
Okay. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be Tamika again.
It's like the daily double.
Just pass. IRT trades. I can pronounce that one, I think.
That's his born name.
Yeah, I appreciate it though.
Cool. All right. Hey Raj, want to hop on stream? Do the hats, talk about the merch.
Cool. Yeah, we're gonna be giving away some merch now. And then by around 4 p.m. today, we'll drop the link to the merch store. So if you guys want to check it out, you can definitely grab some merch. Josh can model for you right now and show you the quarters in.
There you go. Got our logo. Hope you like it.
I think it's pretty slick.
All right, so we'll do a hat first. Or you know what? Let's do a hat or shirt, and you guys can pick what you want if you win. Daniel's going to keep saying the names for us.
Absolutely.
While we have them.
Alfonso Morales.
Nice.
GG's.
All right. So you'll get an email, and then we'll ask information about if you want the hat or the shirt and the size. Let's do 5 of these. Spin it 4 more times. Have you seen the marbles game? It takes like 10 minutes
Yes.
and it crashes people's computers. Everything's all laggy.
I tried doing it on my stream and it crashed out the stream.
Okay, there you go.
Wow.
I was tempted to build one over the weekend. That was like something with trading related.
Naveen Kumar Manala.
All right. You'll get a Hatter shirt and you'll get an email about that. Let's spin it again.
Let's go.
We should just do a giveaway hour where we just do spinning for an hour. People would love that.
They, honestly,
Forget trading.
They would.
And the third winner is
Kevin Ali Mohammed.
all right, Kevin.
GG's Kevin.
Let's do the fourth and then one more after that.
Do you deliver worldwide with the merch? Chat wants to know.
Yeah, we do. I'm sure there's some exceptions. So unfortunately, if that doesn't work for you, we'll figure something else out. But
the winner is okay.
The full name, please.
Okay, let me think about this one. It can't be Joyce, right?
It is, I think, Joyce. Yeah.
Joyce Fernandez Pereira Amaral.
Nailed it.
Really giving me a run.
Oh, there she is. Did we hit it? Did we do it, Joyce? Ah, nice. All right.
Nice.
All right, one more. What do we got?
And the last winner is George? Is that how you say that?
It's George.
It's Mitchell.
I think George.
George. Sorry.
It's like that Key and Peele sketch with the substitute teacher.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool, guys. Do we have any questions? You can ask questions about the Futures Desk. You can ask Daniel questions. Project X is still available in TFT. We are still in conversations with the Project X team. And once we have more clarity on that, we'll let you know. But there will be a path forward no matter what happens here. Josh, you still find time to trade. You know, I'm harassed by people every day because I'm not trading enough or very often at all. I plan to get back into it. But if you could imagine between the 2.0 beta release we have coming and, you know, being a CEO, it doesn't give me a lot of time to do that. So
I was going to ask you,
not as much
out of engineering, trading, and running a prop firm.
Trading's is very enjoyable. I do like that. Running a prop firm is also enjoyable. I you know, it really comes down to, and I know this is going to sound cheesy or something, but like for the last 2+ decades, I've worked with Fortune 50 companies, state, federal law enforcement stuff, post 9/11, like counterterrorism stuff, and it was all about like, how can I improve the jobs of people and like the stress they deal with, and how can I use software to make that happen? And that just flows naturally, and that's where this prop kind of came out of with my team, because we all have the same feeling. It's like, how can I use that to make people better? So I think it fits me pretty well, running a prop, trying to improve traders, try to make them better, because I have the tool set to do it. So I don't know. I'm dodging your answer a little bit, but yeah, I guess, you know, sometimes it's like, oh, it'd be nice to just trade. I can't imagine what it'd be like to just trade at this point. But yeah, I think I'll say, like, I'll how I tell my sons, I like them both equally. High leverage on eval, is it a good idea? No, it is not a good idea. And we probably are going to make some changes shortly to how the sim brokerage to brokerage works, because what we're seeing is there's traders that are going in there, they'll trade really well in the assessment. They're going to take these base hits, they're doing really well, they're showing up in the Discord and they're talking about how they're doing well. We see the numbers, like, people can pace themselves, but the second they kind of get off the chain, it's a struggle. And we're seeing a lot of people just go full leverage, they average in, and a lot of that has to do with expectations. It's sort of, well, the sky's the limit now. I did really well in the assessment, and it was annoying to kind of have to stay with smaller size or stay with smaller days. And then they blow sim brokerage, and if they don't blow sim brokerage, they're blowing the brokerage accounts. And we've put over 100 traders in live accounts in the past month. And there's a good portion of them that are completely not paying attention to risk management, and they think they're done and they're ready. And size is a huge component of that. Over leveraging is a huge component, and we're trying to use our data to figure out how can we put these traders on rails so we're all making really good money together, because we put people in live quick, and a big part of our model is seeing them succeed in live.
Yeah, it's a win-win. Like other firms,
It's a win-win.
They are in the business of having their traders succeed. I mean, are you? When you're doing the actual profit split with the live brokerage, that's really aligned goals there.
Yeah, just putting you guys in live accounts. There's obviously like the dollar risk when you think of it from like the video game standpoint, but when you realize it's an actual live market, we're putting extra capital for you for more contracts. We're risking market events that can go beyond zero. Like, people don't understand, like, you can lose more, and you see it in all the disclaimers that we put up, and all those disclaimers, a lot of them land on us because there are brokerage accounts. You're not putting, there could be a market event where you go negative 2,000 on the account in a live brokerage, and that's on us. That comes out of our money. So there's risks inherent with just putting money in the market that are beyond, what you think. I have a stop loss at negative $100. I should only be able to lose negative 100. That's not how the market works. You could lose negative 1,000 in worst case slippage scenarios.
That's true.
You go live directly after some brokerage. That's true. After the buffer, TFD is so superior on how things get handled. Really love the way you do things. Appreciate that. I can't say enough good things about my team. They are all cross-functional, so you're not going to just get someone that's not going to be able to do something for you. They can run things up the ladder to me. They can speak directly with the brokerage. A lot of how our team works makes them very efficient, as you talk to someone in support, and they're probably going to be able to, be your advisor for the next hour while they work on everything you need. What else we got? Like, have access to more minis in live. Look, we want to scale you. Most people struggle with too much leverage. They want that leverage because they're thinking big numbers. We want you to make big numbers. And it doesn't usually mean, let's just give you 5 minis, 10 minis, 15 minis immediately. We will honor that, right now when you sign up for that in live, if you really insist on it. And that's the conversation you have with your risk manager. He'll pull up your trading. He'll show you, like, this is what you're doing. Let's just get you into the live brokerage. Let's get you continuing that cadence so you can hold the account. And then let's start bumping up your size. And, like, when we start bumping up your size and we're seeing that you have good risk management, we're going to want to push you. You're going to be like, oh no, I'm comfortable with this. We're going to go, okay, how about we give you a little bit more and you can take a little bit more risk on this trade. That's what we're going to try to push you to do, because the traders that obviously, we want you to make money. We want you to cover, what our risk was to get into the brokerage. But in the end, we want to see these 6-digit traders. We want to see these traders that are taking more risk and making more money for us, because those anomalies, those groups of traders that can do this work and not blow up their accounts by just thinking about how much money they're going to make. Those are the traders that are going to make us the most money. So we're on your side with that. It's not about wanting to restrict you for any other reason than we want to see you hold on to these accounts as long as possible. Focus on discipline, Sir Daniel, one trade at a time. That was like a Shakespearean sonnet. After taking the account in the TFD, do we get access for the popular indicator like order flows in the trading platforms? So we will give you access to Delta Trader if you're using Rhythmic. We won't give you day one access to any platform. Like, we're not going to pay for any platform when you start. We do have Delta Trader, which is a great web-based platform that includes order flow and things like that. We're also going to have ATOS is going to be offered for free if you're using Rhythmic. But everything's flexible. So if you get into our live brokerage and you're doing well and you're like, hey, I'd like to switch to Sierra Charts, can you grab me a license? We'll grab you a license for that. Like, everything's flexible once you're doing well with us and you've respected our live account and you can show us you can trade. How to get Joe's personal number. I don't know who Joe is. I'm going to assume that's not a mistype. So, oh, there he is. Tim Vesh. All right, we got Tim on here. He was on last Wednesday. Good guy, good trader, good streamer. You can get my personal phone, but it might look like Daniel's phone number. Can we go ahead and flash Daniel's phone number up on the screen?
I was gonna say, like, you actually have mine. I actually don't have yours, so I shouldn't goof around.
Yeah. Yeah. No personal phone number. Sorry, guys. He's okay with that. All right. What else we got? Maybe a few more minutes for questions. Josh, why not build off TradingView infrastructure like Project X? You know, I might have an R&D project in the works for building our own kind of system, but everything's one step away from the trading. It's a balance, building our own infrastructure and doing that kind of stuff. There's a possibility, but when it comes down to it, our team just really wants to focus on the traders, the trading. How do we make that better? And we really aren't very excited, even though people love the way we do our plans because it is super flexible. We do it that way also because we really don't like to talk about the plans so much. We like to get traders in, whatever makes them comfortable, get in the door, and then work with them on the trading side of things. So we'll see. It's still possible. Honestly, it's a fun sounding project for me. So doing that could happen. What else we got? Good to see you here, man. Daniel. It's all about Daniel.
Oh, shoot. Good to be here.
Give him enough. He might drop that phone number.
Yeah. I could be swayed.
How much time do you spend trading daily? Is there a sweet spot for how long works best? Kind of answered that before. He trades. I'm speaking for him now. Yeah, there you go. 2.5 hours and he starts to fade out. It sounds like he's got one thing he's working on where, because it's these props and because he's trying to hit targets and do all that, if he doesn't have a great morning, he might still pop in the afternoon, but he was trying to pull back on that a little bit.
It rarely goes well for me. Yeah.
You be having a Christmas sale. I'm thinking of coming back on Christmas. Yeah, Christmas sale, and it'll probably look similar to the sale that's ending tonight, everybody. I have to act like the sales guy every now and then. Cyber Monday, we extended it. Today's the last day. This is by far the best sale we've done so far. 60% off the EOD accounts, which are great. Our static accounts, there's nothing like it in the space. So take advantage of the static accounts. And if you need to know more about that, check our help docs or ask in our Discord or our fantastic support chat.
Yeah, I will say, if you compare their static versus other firms, this is, in my opinion, the best static account, and it's a really, nothing beats the cost to get to a live brokerage either.
Yeah. If you're really all about sim farming and staying in sim forever, and you're just trying to milk these firms for a return on investment, and your thoughts on return on investment are how much can I get from a payout? That's a different world than us, right? Yeah. If you want to be with us and you want to be able to grow your own personal account, learn how to grow your own personal account, join a live account quickly where we're not going to cap your payouts at all. You can take payouts into the buffer fully. Obviously, that's on you if you deplete the buffer and you blow the account. But that's what's going on here. We're a lot different than all these other props in the space in that way. We're trying to figure out a way to make the most money we possibly can in live brokerage accounts by utilizing the edge that you guys all bring with you. So yeah, and if you want to just use us to learn how to game the sim farming community, then I'm happy to help you do that. I'm not going to give you some trick or hack, but I'm going to show you slow down, stop losing accounts, and trade with meaning. That's what we do here. What else we got? Do you scale live traders, add more funds to their accounts? So that's the pathway. And most people won't get there. So I don't want to make it feel like, you just hit this dollar amount and we'll do that. But we have live traders where that is a goal of ours, right? 80-20 split. It works for us. It gets you into live. We are CME group corporate members. We have seats on the exchange. 80-20 is the most we can do, right? And it's also the most we really want to do because we want to be on your side. We don't want it to be like, yeah, go into a live brokerage account, get 90%, and it doesn't really matter if you do well or not. 80 is sort of that line for us where we still have skin in the game. It matters to us when you do well. But if you're doing really well, what we're going to want to do is be like, okay, take out everything you got in the account. We're going to start you with more drawdown. Let's say we'll give you $10,000 of drawdown, and we want you to start risking more per trade, but we're going to renegotiate what that percentage looks like. And then, if you're doing well in there, we might do the same thing and say, okay, now we're going to give you more, even additional drawdown. Again, our risk, our drawdown, but a difference on the percentage on the split. So yeah, totally doable. You just have to work well with the team. We're going to be talking to you audibly on voice chat, getting to know you, getting a sense of, do you need extra coaching? We feel like you really have a strong edge and you can execute. Are you coachable in that way? Are you someone that we want to work with? It's sort of like a hiring process in that way. Right now, everything's 100% objective in our eval to live and taking money with us. But if you want to take it that extra step, it's like a job interview. What did you both think about today's NQ action? Open-ended, no right, wrong answer.
Personally, I didn't really love it, but there was some great levels that got hit, and like the support at 25,500. It tagged into one of my key zones that I was looking for, a sell-off, and then we got a sell-off. So there was some great setups, but it was a little tricky, especially the first 2 hours. I didn't super love it.
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to watch the price action again. Have to be Mr. CEO and everything else, but looking at it now, I think it was a reasonable day to look for lows from the RTH session yesterday. Obviously, that's in hindsight. It just depends on what your trades were. I know. Vish over there, he just YOLOs every day. I think that's what he said his strategy was last week. Am I right, Vish? Or you pick a direction and then just hold? No, he does. He uses the Keltner channels. Check out that recording, by the way. Last Wednesday we did with him, and he went over how he trades. It's a simple approach, but it works. You still need some discretionary choices, which I think I'm a pretty big believer in. If someone says they have 100% objective strategy that works across all market conditions, that takes no discretion, then I'm very skeptical. But yeah, he goes over all that in his recording last Wednesday with us.
And your strategy can be super simple. Like, I'm certain you can make a profitable strategy out of just trading 50% retracements. You got to mark the right ones and understand context and everything, but it doesn't have to be something so complex with FVGs and CM whatevers and ICTs. You don't have to do all that in order to be a profitable trader.
Yeah. 80/20 is more than, thank you, Niels. And Niels is the CEO founder of Delta Trader. Again, the platform that we have, we let use for free. It does still work for Project X, but it also will give it to you for free on Rhythmic. But yeah, he'll be streaming, I think, this Friday with us, showing some of his scalping. He was an ex-institutional trader, so he's got a lot of insight.
He was institutionalized, you could say.
He was institutionalized while he was trading early on, like most of us.
Yeah.
The lines and the rectangles. That's what I tell everyone. What do you do for a living? I just stare at lines and rectangles, and I try to predict where the lines and rectangles will shift.
Krill, a master.
That's how you do it at the end of the day. Okay, winding it down here. Daniel's got to go think if he made money this morning or not, if he's going to trade this afternoon. He's got to go meditate on that.
So true.
Cyber Monday ends tonight. This is our best sale of the year so far. Probably won't get it any better than this during Christmas time or Hanukkah time or Kwanzaa time or whatever else. So jump on it and join the Discord. We are very chatty in the Discord, and we like to talk trading. Love to have you in there. Cool. All right. And if you didn't get the email for the $20 credit as well, let us know. I believe, Raj, you sent that out. They should be getting that right away.
Yeah. So if they've never gotten a credit before, they just got a $20.
And you won't see that credit until you go to the checkout page. So if you pick a plan, you'll see $20 unless you had a credit before. Cool, guys. Thanks, Daniel. Really appreciate it. Hopefully have you on again. That was good fun.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, guys.